Thank you. Well, things you should know, I'm back. If anyone has any announcements that I need to put forth today, please raise a hand so we can get you a microphone, because I did not get anything sent to me. Nothing? Wow, we're a quiet summer group. Well, I am glad to be back. Who we got? Up, we got one over here.
Just wanted to let everybody know that the Arts and Crafts Group will be meeting this Friday at noon at Waters Hall. We're going to be doing gnomes, and there are examples of gnomes at the food table.
And Anna, did you have something in the back?
No.
Oh, over here.
I'd like to introduce my daughter, Kristen, who's been here before. Some of you must remember her over the years, but you who are new don't know.
Nice to meet you.
Hello. Okay, is that everything? Oh, please check the back of your bulletin for all the things going on this week. And one last little bit of good news that isn't really church related. I used my vacation time to finish my last doctoral course and defend. I made it. I am now the Reverend Doctor. Thank you.
Good morning, and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Venice, known as UCOV. My name is Nancy Minaldi Scanlon, and I am so happy to be your worship assistant today on the day we welcome Reverend Dr. Amy back. UCOV welcomes all people who respectfully enter, regardless of their country of origin, documentation status, skin color, or ethnicity. Come as you are. Bring your coffee or your knitting. Doodle if you want to. Love is the language spoken here, and all others are welcome too. If anyone is here for the first time and feels comfortable doing so, please raise your hand, and Marcia or Tony will bring you a microphone so you can introduce yourself. Anybody? Does anybody want to change their identity and reintroduce themselves? Huh? Just thought I'd ask. Okay. Sometimes I want to change mine.
Excuse me.
Is there one?
Sorry.
Okay.
My husband, Brian, Lynn Knox, we're visiting from Sarasota, UU.
Welcome.
Just wanted to come and see you.
Welcome. We welcomed your minister, too. Anybody else? Okay. If anyone is leaving or has returned this week, please feel free to raise a hand so we can say goodbye until we see you again, or hello and welcome back. And we do have one person. Peggy. Where are you going?
I'm going to Arizona where it's 115. But my daughter says she can't live through another hurricane with me here.
Well, I'm glad you're going to be somewhere away from the hurricane season, but Arizona, where it's even hotter? Anyway, at least your daughter will be there.
How about a mixture of returning visitor? Dave Warren, my wife Jennifer, my first time visiting mother-in-law Gloria. We're visiting family here. We come every couple of years if we happen to be in town on a Sunday from Charlotte, North Carolina, where we're members of the Unitarian Universalist community of Charlotte.
Very well. Welcome so much. Thank you. Anybody else? Okay.
Slow to draw them out.
We are now entering sacred space. So please silence all electronics you may have brought with you today. We light our chalice today in honor of the boundless love and radical welcome we try so hard to bring into the world. May this light lead us to try and try again.
Well, it's so good to be back with you all here today. I'm just delighted. In 1963, Bob Dylan wrote the words to a song called "The Times They Are A-Changin'." Now, how many of you have ever heard the song? A lot of you. It's now considered one of the most important songs of the folk period, and the lyrics pull absolutely no punches. The battle outside is raging. It'll soon shake your windows and rattle your walls, for the times they are a-changin'. In another verse, he says, "The line it is drawn and the curse it is cast." And he was very clear. There was a revolution in progress, and there were no gray areas. The line was drawn, and everyone was called to choose which side they were on. And back then, I venture to guess a lot of you chose to be on the side of love. Didn't matter what political party you followed, didn't matter if you were rich or poor, you decided you wanted to be good to people. But what does choosing love look like today in a world 62 years, can you believe it's been that long? 62 years removed from Dylan's writing that song. We're going to talk about that today. What does love look like in today's climate? So come and let us worship here together. Please stand as you are willing and able, and join me in our first hymn, number 162, "Gonna Lay Down My Sword and Shield." Now this is a fun one, and it's got some swing to it, so let's see if we can have some fun with it. That's only the second time we've ever done that one, so I'm impressed. I apologize in advance for our offering words. As always, our offering words are delivered with levity because giving should never hurt. A UU pastor of a poor and impoverished church realized that they had a terrible need for a paint job, but absolutely no money in the budget. The estimate called for 100 gallons of white latex paint to cover the outside of their horribly peeling building. But the minister decided to buy only one 20-gallon can because he knew that latex paint could be thinned with water. So he diluted 1 to 1 with water and started painting. It still coated the walls and it looked white. So he diluted it again to stretch it even more. As he was painting, he kept diluting, trying to make 20 gallons into 100. As he finished, a dark cloud appeared and a torrential Florida rain washed all the paint away. In dismay, he cried out to the heavens, "Oh Lord, what do I do now?" There was a roll of thunder and the clouds parted and one ray of light shone on his face. And a voice called out from the clouds, and I apologize for this, repaint and thin no more. The morning offering will now be given and gratefully received. Thank you all so much, not just for what you gave here today, but for everything that you do for the life and the work of this community, because it's the community that matters. As a community of human hands and human hearts, we come together here to be with one another and to minister to one another as we struggle with life's sorrows and celebrate life's joys. So if you have a joy or a sorrow to share, please raise a hand, and Marcia or Tony will bring you a microphone.
I just want to thank everyone for your contributions to the Wildlife Refuge. We have come down here and thrown a lot of the animals that used to be here out, and they don't know how to interface with us, and these people help heal them. So, thank you for your contribution.
Hi, I'm celebrating the fact that Barbara Griffin and Dave, you're back with us today. It's so nice to see you.
I hate speaking in public, you just know that. But I'm so grateful for UCOV and the opportunities that are provided here that reflect our values and opportunities. And I had two really amazing experiences this week when I took home some of the flyers from the Social Justice Committee that have Spanish on one side and English on the other, providing information, legal information for immigrants. And coincidentally, the gardeners who now in our community wear face masks up to here in the blistering sun, because I'm sure my assumption was they're afraid of being picked up by ICE. And so a truck full of gardeners and landscapers pulled up in front of my house. Most of them do not speak English, so I got some of these flyers and took them out, and in my best non-communication way, tried to engage them and gave them the flyers. And at first they were like really apprehensive, but then they were like very grateful. They were giving me the peace sign. And about a half an hour later, they came back and just completely weeded all my gardens, trimmed my trees, and cut my shrubs, trim my shrubs for me. And I know that that was a thank you for the just gratefulness that somebody cares about them. And then later, I won't go into it, but I had another experience and gave a flyer to someone who was doing work for me in Spanish, and he told me about a friend of his who was missing. And so I'm grateful for our values and what we can do, but I'm also saddened by the fear that people live in our community.
Gene kind of stole my thunder. I was going to say, I was really delighted that Dave decided he could come today. This is the first time with a walker. He's been in a wheelchair for quite a while. And life has been pretty chaotic for us. We've been in assisted living at Village on the Isle for a couple of months, and now he needs more care than he can get in assisted living, so he has to move to the next level. And I'm going back to Matthew Hall, to independent living. So just keep us in your thoughts, because this is going to be a very difficult time for us.
Lisa, I want to thank you for the prelude. It was absolutely stunning. Thank you.
I have a question. What Sunday school tune is hidden in that music this morning, the first one?
I'm sorry, I don't understand. What did you ask?
What is the underlying melody from my Sunday school days that's in that first piece?
You mean what I played before the service?
Uh-huh, yes.
Jacob's Ladder.
Okay, all right. Thank you. Anybody else? I'll not report every week, but we did go to Chicago. No, we did go to Fort Wayne last week. My son has serious prostate cancer with melanoma. Serious prostate cancer with spreading around the body. So he's optimistic. He made me a little optimistic. But anyway, when we're not here, it's probably because we're up there. So.
I'm Kate Simpson, and just here for a couple of weeks. I'm so moved by what people have shared. I don't know if I can share my joy, but my joy is being here and seeing you. And also, I've been a lifelong reader, so a joy has been reading. And walking by the little library, I found two wonderful books, two of my favorites, The Dutch House and also All the Light We Cannot See. And I highly recommend both of these. So I'll be standing in the lanai after the service. And I can, if you haven't read these, they're both brilliant. And thank you for sharing, and thank you for being here. And I'll look forward to being back in October when more joy.
Never hesitate to share joy with us, please. Anybody else? The technical lesson I'll repeat is use the microphone when you want to make an announcement, because we have these cameras and we're broadcasting, and that does not get through without a microphone. So please, thank you.
We got to have a joy while we were on while I was on vacation. All three of Nancy's kids were able to come visit. We got to see the 2-year-old, and if you notice, my right leg looks like a plum. It's because if you're my age, you shouldn't be playing flying dragon kick with a 2-year-old. So it was a lovely, lovely time. May the love of this community hold all those who need love and concern, and may the light of our community shine on the broken places of the world. May we never look away when we're needed. May those who are grieving be comforted, and those who are tired find rest. May the broken places be healed, and may those who are filled with joy and laughter be abundant.
Our meditation this morning is taken from Agape Love by Monica Clark Robinson. There is a word I invite you to contemplate this morning: agape. agape love. A radical, quiet, boundless, unconditional love. Agape love is the love we have for God, the universe, the interconnected web, for whatever words for spirit make your soul sing. Agape is also the love spirit has for us. And if we can find God in the face of everyone we see, we can have agape love for others. And even imagine, even for ourselves. Then we'll understand that our worth doesn't depend on how many Valentines we got, or if our girlfriend thinks we're cute, or if our mother said, "I love you," often enough. Can we let everything that isn't capital L love fall away just for a while and try, as the song says, to hold the whole world in our hands? Can we love ourselves enough to remember that we too are divine? Can we love others enough to care deeply about what matters to them, even if we don't understand it? Can we love the world enough to give part of ourselves in service, even in sacrifice, to its wholeness? Can we love spirit enough to let it in when it comes knocking, as it is right now, in this moment? Holding these words in mind, please join me in 1 minute of silent thought, meditation, or prayer. Our reading this morning is taken from The Little School, Tales of Disappearance and Survival by Alicia Partnoy. The new junta heavily censored the media and annulled the Constitution. They felt that this was the only way to control not only the youth, but also the workers, whose demands for better wages and whose continuous strikes were getting out of hand. Attending school became hazardous. I had to pass between two soldiers who were sitting with machine guns at the entrance of the building. A highly ranked officer would request my ID, check it against a list of wanted activists, and search my belongings. I did not know when my name was going to appear on that list. I stopped going to classes. But the coup triggered my rage, and I decided to become more militant. That decision meant risking my life. My daughter Ruth was 9 months old. My answer to my own fears was that I had to work for a better society for the sake of my child's future. For almost a year, I did so. I clandestinely reproduced and distributed information on the economic situation, the workers' strikes, and the repression. I learned about disappearance, the kidnapping of an individual followed by torture and secret detention, which meant that the military denied the fact that the prisoner was in their hands. I did not know that very soon I would become a disappeared person. On January 12, 1977, at noon, I was detained by uniformed Army personnel at my home, Canada Street 240, Apartment 2, Bahia Blanca. Minutes later, the same military personnel detained my husband at his place of work. I was taken to the headquarters of the 5th Army Corps and from there to a concentration camp, which the military ironically named the Little School, La Escuelita. We had no knowledge of the fate of our daughter Ruth. From that moment on, for the next 5 months, my husband and I became 2 more names on the endless list of disappeared people. The old house of the Little School was located behind the headquarters of the 5th Army Corps, 15 blocks from the U&I Motel, T.I.O., on Carandanga Road, a beltway. The house was near a railroad. One could hear trains, the shots fired at the Army Command's firing range, and the mooing of cows. I stepped off the Army truck, handcuffed and blindfolded, and by tilting my head, was able to read on the face of the house the letters AAA, which stood for Alianza Anticomunista Argentina, the name of a para-police group with whom the military has since denied any relation. In the Little School, there were 2 rooms where an average of 15 prisoners remained prone, our hands bound. The floors were wood, the walls yellowing with high windows and dark green shutters, and colonial wrought iron bars. Separating these rooms was a tiled hall where the presence of a guard ensured that we neither moved nor spoke. At the end of the hall were the guard's room, kitchen, and a bathroom. A door opened on the patio where the torture room, latrine, and water tank were located. There was also a trailer where the guards slept, and later they added 1 or 2 trailers for more disappeared people. When it rained, the water streamed into the rooms and soaked us. When the temperatures fell below 0, we were covered with only dirty blankets. When the heat was unbearable, we were obligated to blanket even our heads. We were forced to remain silent and prone, often immobile or face down for many hours, our eyes blindfolded and our wrists tightly bound. Lunch was at 1 p.m. and dinner at 7 p.m. We went without food for 18 consecutive hours daily. We were constantly hungry. I lost 20 pounds, going down to 95 pounds. I am 5 feet 5 inches. Added to the meager food, the lack of sugar or fruits was the constant state of stress that made our bodies consume calories rapidly. We ate our meals blindfolded, sitting on the bed, plate in lap. When we had soup or watery stew, the blows were constant because the guards insisted that we keep our plates straight. When we were thirsty, we asked for water, receiving only threats or blows in response. For talking, we were punished with blows from a billy club, punches, or removal of our mattresses. The atmosphere of violence was constant. The guards put guns to our heads or mouths and pretended to pull the trigger. On April 25th, after 3.5 months, the guards told me they were taking me to, quote, see how the radishes grow, unquote, a euphemism for death and burial. Instead, I was transferred from the little school to another place where I remained disappeared for 52 more days. The living conditions were better, no blindfold, no blows, better food, a clean cell, daily showers. The isolation was complete, and the risk of being killed the same. By June 1977, my family was informed of my whereabouts. I reappeared, but remained a political prisoner for 2.5 more years. I could see my daughter, and I knew that my husband had also survived. I never discovered why the military had spared my life. Please rise in body or spirit and join in singing number 1018, Come and Go With Me.
Wonderful friend of mine named Roger lives in California. He is a retired businessman. And because he was a very astute businessman who made smart investments and good decisions, Roger lives happily and simply these days in a lovely, small 8-bedroom house surrounded by beautiful green lawns with some breathtaking landscaping around his saltwater pool and his hot tub. One wall of his study is taken up by a 1,000-gallon reef aquarium. He has rare corals and some pretty beautiful tropical fish. And of course, since Roger is in his 80s, he doesn't take care of his beautiful house and grounds and tank and pools by himself. He has a crew of wonderful men and women who trim the lawns and care for the plants, clean the tanks, make the food, and keep the house and the pools running. And the head of his crew is a man named Matteo. Matteo and most of the rest of that crew have worked for Roger for over 15 years. Roger considers them dear friends and almost family. Many of them come from Mexico. Some of them are in the process of getting citizenship, and some are not. And Roger and Matteo were talking a few weeks ago about California and the climate in the U.S. right now. And Roger assured Matteo that he had nothing to worry about. After all, he worked for Roger, a long-time liberal who had marched in the 60s and protested in the 80s and had given money to all the right kinds of great causes. Who was going to bother Matteo? Matteo kind of nodded and thought about it for a minute, and then he, out of nowhere, said, "Would you hide me?" And Roger was confused when he was telling me this. He said, "I was confused, maybe even a little shocked. This came out of nowhere." Matteo went on. He said, "You know, there were a lot of good German people who had wonderful Jewish friends. But when the Nazis came, there were not so many Germans hiding Jews." Roger was really shocked then, and even maybe a little angry. They had been friends for over 15 years. Of course he would help if something went horrifically wrong in our country. "Not help," Matteo said gently. "Hide. Not help. And not if. When would you hide me?" And Roger started to assure him that of course I would. And then he stopped. He told me it had hit him like a bullet to the chest. Would you hide me? Not would you be an ally, not would you be a supporter, but would you become my accomplice? Would you not help me out in my troubles, but would you take my troubles on yourself? Would you risk yourself for me? Roger said it took him 4 days to answer this man, his dear friend. He went home into his house and he wrestled with this. And he caught Matteo at lunch on the 4th day and he said simply, "Yes," and then walked away. Roger was crying a little when he told me the story because he was ashamed of himself, ashamed that it had taken him 4 days to decide that yes, he was willing to risk his way of life, his actual life, his money, his privilege, if needed to save this man, his beloved friend. He told me up until now, until this moment of time, even when James Reeb got killed, I always knew that I could go home and my life would roll right on. All of the protests, all the marches. When I went home, I was safe. I could just stop. Will you hide me? Roger's a good man. He's liberal socially. He's fiscally conservative. a Republican UU. He loves people. He works hard to love people. And that's what we're talking about today, love. Maybe it's what Christians would call agape love, selfless love for your fellow person because you love life and you see the face of the divine or the sacred on other human beings. Agape love pours itself out for others without asking, what's in it for me? Now, Bob Dylan said the line has been drawn, and he was right. And I have to say, UUs typically hate that kind of duality, that us and them idea. We even rewrote our Standing on the Side of Love programs, renaming them as Side with Love, to minimize the us and the them feeling. But you know what? The times, they are a-changin'. There is an us made up of good people of all kinds, all political parties, all colors and creeds, all religions. That's the us. And then there is a them. There are people in our country and in all countries who hate. People for whom hurting others is as vital as enriching themselves. People who take joy in others' pain. And the only word we have for people like this is one we UUs don't use often, and it is evil. There is no negotiation possible with evil. There are no gray areas with evil. The line has been drawn. There's a terrible old joke that says, do you know what you call a good person who has 10 Nazi friends? You call them a Nazi. All of us in this room have chosen love in one way or another. Some of us have marched and some have protested, some have written marvelous letters that brought people knowledge. Some have done more, some have done a little, but you've all done something. Even just being here, you're choosing love. We've all read or seen the diary of Anne Frank. Some of us have imagined ourselves in that world, hiding Anne and her family. Or maybe working like Oskar Schindler to save lives at the time of war. Maybe we've asked ourselves, what would we have done if such a war came to our door? But no one has asked us yet, would you hide me? This is no longer a theoretical construct, not some imaginary person, not some historical person, but a friend, a neighbor, our UCOV church administrator, your minister. Would you hide me? As Roger said, the answers were always theoretical, and I could go home. But the old road is rapidly changing and the gray areas are gone. You are called to love. You are called to stand on the side of love and justice and to absolutely refuse to make a 1-inch step into the mire of self-serving evil. But what does that look like in real time? What does that look like in your life? Because this isn't theoretical, and quick answers don't work. Roger found that out. This means that your task now is to do an honest and fearless inventory of your own ability to be an accomplice rather than just an ally, and to be honest. Back in 2016, it quickly became very trendy to wear a safety pin to show that you were a black ally, that you were a safe person. The only problem was that when black people believed it and went to the people wearing safety pins and asked for help, they often got turned away. It was meaningless and performative and an empty act of solidarity. We can't waste lives. We can't risk lives with performative solidarity anymore. Now, you are not called to set yourself on fire to keep anyone warm. I want to be real clear on that. but you are called to love and honesty. If someone asks, will you hide me? It's not theoretical. They're asking about next week, next month. And maybe the answer has to be no. Be honest. Be honest with what you can and cannot help with. Be honest. Those of you who live in one-bedroom tiny apartments or in Vody where everyone knows every coming and going, the answer may have to be no. Whether it's actually hiding someone or helping transport someone, whatever the real ask is, you may have to say no because it's impossible. But now is the time for brutal honesty with yourself and others, and love compels you to do that inventory of yourself, to know what you can and cannot do, and to be honest. Don't get me wrong, you're called to do the most you can. You're called to be an accomplice now, not just an ally. But only you know what you can actually follow through on. Under promise, over deliver is more important now than ever. Don't make empty promises or engage in performative allyship. Love calls us to do it differently. Be honest about what you are called to do and then do it. If you see masked ICE agents seizing people, you probably cannot pull those people to safety. But you can take pictures of those people. You can take pictures of the ICE agents. You can take pictures of their car license plates. You can call out and ask their names and write it down quickly before you forget. You can call out and ask, is there anyone I can tell? And try to get a name. And if you can't do anything with it, you can pass it along to activists or to TV crews. You may not be able to hide someone, but you may have $200 that you can pass along to help them hide themselves. Allyship is safe. Accompliship is costly. And only costly love changes the world. When the question comes, and it will come, will you hide me? Will you help me? Your answer can't be a slogan, a pin, a hashtag. It must be your heart, your life. Love that costs nothing is sentiment. Love that risks nothing is theater. But love that risks everything, your comfort, your privilege, your place in the world, is the kind of love that changes history. The line has been drawn, and the only question left is not, what do you believe? But who would you risk yourself to save? May we be found faithful when that knock comes at our own door. When you leave today, go with love, not with easy words, not with empty gestures, but with the love that risks, the love that shelters, the love that says yes when the question comes. May you be bold enough to be more than an ally and brave enough to be an accomplice whenever possible, faithful enough to be found standing on the side of love when history comes knocking at your door and asks, will you hide me? Amen. As we extinguish this chalice flame, may the warmth of its light remain within us, guiding our steps and our hearts. Let us carry forward the strength of this community, the courage to speak truth, and the hope that transformation is possible. In each breath we take, may we remember that the work of love, justice, and healing is ours to continue, both here and beyond these walls. Please rise in body or spirit and join in singing our closing hymn this week, number 118, This Little Light of Mine. out with the courage of your convictions and work to share love whenever you can. Peace, Ashe, and may it be so. Amen. And Roger, is it? Insanely completely by but he's